A very good morning to all of you. Myself, Dr. Varun Narayan Mishra. Today, I am going to discuss about urban sprawl and urban heat island effect. Urban heat island effect is directly related to the sprawl. When we talk about urban sprawl, there is a rapid urbanization, the impervious surface, and the urban area is increasing day by day, growing day by day. So, because of the rapid urbanization, because of the rapid urban sprawl, there is a problem of urban heat island. So, today we will discuss about urban heat island and how and what is the role of urban sprawl in the urban heat island effect. Okay, so in the first slide, okay, we have heard more about global warming in daily news or in our daily life. We always heard the word global warming. Okay, so global warming is taking place around the world. Okay, and these are the three major factors of global warming. So out of the entire factor, the global warming is contributed mostly by the greenhouse gases. Then there is a region behind global warming is black carbon emission, and urban heat island effect is also a uh, factor in the global warming. So basically, the global warming process or the global warming effect is because of three different factors. First one is greenhouse gases. As we know that greenhouse gases including carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, or different other nitrous oxide. Then second important factor in global warming is black carbon emission. Then third one is urban heat island effect. So now today I am going to discuss about urban heat island effect because this urban heat island effect is directly or indirectly caused by the urban sprawl, or you can say the rapid urbanization. Okay, okay. So the regional climate, or you can say the local climate of a city or a district or area describes the general climatic condition of the locality. Okay, and a microclimate is the climate of a small area that is different from the area around it. So generally what happens, each and every region, whether it is local or global, they have their regional climate. So depending on the climatic condition in a regional level, depending on the climatic condition of local area, there may be the different kinds of climatic condition. Depending on the climatic condition, each and every city, or you can say each and every area on the earth, they have different kind of climate that is known as microclimate. When we are talking about the climate of a local area or the climate of a small area or a small town, then it is known as microclimate. Okay, so climate may be studied at different levels: global climate, regional climate, and microclimate. Microclimate including a small area, it's a kind of climatic change in a small area that is different from its surrounding area. Okay, so the humans are changing the climate by changing the land cover, releasing the pollutants, and releasing the greenhouse gases. Okay, because of the rapid urban population, because of the rapid growth, or you can say the changing in the landscape, they are responsible for the climatic changes. Okay, because of the population growth, now most of the vehicles are being used by the population. So they are releasing pollutants in the terms of carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide. Okay, these are also responsible for the greenhouse gases or the greenhouse effect. So most of the climatic condition, or you can say the most of the changes in the regional climate or local climate is because of the human population, because of the rapid population. Because when we are going to or you can say when people are moving from rural area to urban area, so they need some space, so that is leading to the rapid urbanization. Because of the rapid urbanization, we are going to construct different buildings, different flyovers, and the different kinds of impervious surfaces. So we are continuously changing the land cover. Land cover means the naturally covered surface on the earth. It includes the vegetation, it includes the forest, it includes the water bodies, wetland, anything. So we are continuously changing the land cover, and because of the change in that land cover, there is a continuous change in the climatic condition of that area. That is known as microclimate. It's about the climatic condition of a small area or local area. Okay, and now most of the people are using vehicles. for traveling from one place to another place. So they are releasing the high level of the pollutants, high level of the population is the pollution is there. The concentration of pollution is increasing day by day. That is that is because of the carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide, and that cause the greenhouse gases or greenhouse gas effect. So the rapid urbanization and the industrialization have brought about the microclimatic change into the thermal structure of an area, that is known as urban heat island effect. Okay, if the temperature of a local area is very much high in comparison to its surrounding area, this kind of phenomena is known as urban heat island effect. So mostly the urbanization and industrialization brought the microclimatic condition or change in the microclimatic condition, that is known as the change in the thermal structure of that area, and in general we call it as a urban heat island effect. Urban heat island effect, you can say it's a local climatic effect. You can say the change in the climatic condition of a small area, that small area is having higher temperature in comparison to its surrounding temperature, this kind of phenomena, and this process is known as urban heat island effect. Okay, so in this figure you can see the change in the temperature of different landscape features. Because of the uh, diverse landscape features, we may have different kinds of variation in the temperature. So here we have chosen different landscape features, like some other areas having rural area, then suburban residential area, there are some commercial areas, then urban residential area, parks are there, residential rural farmlands. So you can see the variation in the temperature. Okay, so you see here the commercial and urban residential area is having higher temperature, means in that case the area is having higher temperature in comparison to its surrounding area. So that is the profile of the temperature, that is the profiling of the variation in the temperature. And this kind of phenomena, the variation in the temperature, or you can say the temperature of an area more than by its surrounding area, is known as urban heat island effect. In short, we call it as a UHI. So it may depend on the type of the landscape feature. Some features may have high temperature rise, some feature may have low temperature rise. Depending on the structure or depending on the composition of the landscape feature, we may have different temperature variation, we may have different temperature condition in that area. So here this is a graph showing the temperature variation in terms of Fahrenheit for different landscape features. You can see the variation in the temperature. Okay, so the high temperature rise in case of commercial or urban residential area, whereas if there is a rural area or if there is urban any park or any vegetation, it is having less temperature. So the major cause of urban heat island effect, the major cause behind UHI is the rapid commercialization, rapid industrialization, or the impervious surface that rises the temperature of that area. So the rise of a temperature of an area in comparison to the surrounding area is known as urban heat island effect, or we short call it as a UHI. Okay, so the why it is problematic, why we call urban heat island a problem. Okay, because the urban heat island effect or UHI is affected by the growth of the metropolitan areas. Most of the cities are growing, most of the urban areas are expanding day by day. So this is affecting the temperature variation, and consequently it causes the urban heat island effect. Okay, so because of the rapid urbanization, because of the spread of the metropolitan area or any city, the size of heat island is also increasing. Okay, if urban area is increasing, if impervious surfaces is increasing, the city boundaries are expanding day by day, so that also increase the temperature difference between the rural and urban area. So that increase in the temperature is mainly caused by the urban heat island effect, or you can say this is the responsible for this kind of urban heat island phenomena. Okay, so we need to study, or we need to know the correlation between the increased urban sprawl and the change in the urban heat island effect. So there is a direct correlation, there is a direct relationship between the increased urban area, increased urban sprawl, and the change in the urban heat island. Okay, so we have to measure, we need to measure this kind of correlation between urban sprawl and the amount of the changes in urban heat island to study the variation in the temperature of that area. That will lead to the information about the variation in the temperature, and that can provide you the information for future development of that urban area, including urban green spaces or any other precautions that can be taken for reducing the effect of urban heat island effect. Okay, first it is important to study the correlation between increased urban area, increased urban sprawl, and how this urban sprawl is changing the temperature, changing the you can say the phenomena of urban heat island over that study area. So it is very important to measure. Okay, so now moving to the next slide. So most of the cities around the world, they are under threat of UHI. You can see here most of the cities including New York, Chicago, London, Beijing, Delhi, Bengaluru, okay, Trivandrum, Kochi, most of the cities, whatever the major cities in the world, around the world, they are facing the problem of urban heat island effect because all the cities are growing day by day, population is increasing day by day because of the rapid population, because of the rapid urbanization. The effect of urban heat island is also increasing day by day. So because of this, they are also facing different kinds of problems. So we need to study the causes of the increase in UHI, and we can go for the mitigation for reducing the effect of urban heat island effect. Now moving to the next slide. Yeah, this is the diurnal behavior of the urban heat island effect. Urban heat island effect having different behavior in daytime and nighttime. This kind of behavior or this kind of variation in the temperature in daytime and nighttime is known as diurnal behavior. Diurnal behavior tells us the range, or you can say it tells us the variation in the temperature in the night time and daytime for any urban area. So here in the same way, we have different kinds of landscape features: rural, then suburban area is there. There is some pond, warehouses, some industrial area is there, residential urban area is there, urban residential area, park, and other things. So you can see the temperature variation in night time and daytime. So temperature rise in night time is very high in comparison to the temperature variation in the night time. So this kind of behavior, or you can say the variation in the temperature of different landscape features in daytime and night time, is known as diurnal behavior. Okay, so you see the surface temperature in the daytime is shown by the line, then and the air temperature in the daytime is shown by the dotted line. Okay, there is also the variation between the surface temperature and air temperature. The dotted line here is showing the air temperature, whereas the solid line is showing the surface temperature in the daytime. In the same way, when you go for nighttime diurnal behavior, in the nighttime temperature variation, the surface temperature and air temperature is almost similar. Okay, in nighttime, this blue line, solid blue line and dotted blue line. Okay, in night time, the surface temperature and air temperature is having almost same kind of behavior. Okay, but in daytime, you can see the surface temperature and the air temperature having the higher variation. So this kind of variation in the temperature in the daytime and nighttime between the surface as well as the air is known as diurnal behavior. So this diurnal behavior, or the change in the temperature, change in the uh, characteristics of the temperature of different landscape features, will tell us about the that which feature or which landscape feature is having higher contribution in UHI phenomena. Okay, so this graph is very much important to know that how the temperature is changing over different landscape features in night time and daytime, and how we can study the correlation between the daytime and nighttime temperature variation with landscape features. Okay, so this is very important to know the diurnal behavior before studying or before analyzing the UHI effect. Okay, so there are several causes for UHI. Some of the important reasons behind this phenomena, that is UHI, is properties of the materials. what kind of materials are being used for the construction of the buildings. There is a lack of vegetation, that is reduction in the urban green spaces. Okay, urban canopy effect is also responsible for UHI effect. Waste heat, albedo is an important factor behind the urban heat island effect, and thermal plumb. So these are some major causes for the phenomena of urban heat island or UHI. Okay, so first we need to know the materials, means what kind of materials or what kind of uh, you can say different kinds of materials are used for the construction of buildings. So you know that the buildings and the roads and other constructions are being used by concrete surface, asphalt. Okay, these are the features, these materials, concrete, asphalt, they absorb the solar radiation coming from the sun, and they release it in the night time. So it is very important to study the property of the material. If the property is having the characteristics of absorbing the higher amount of solar radiation, so definitely it will release the higher amount of the temperature in the night time. Whatever the temperature, whatever the energy is absorbed by the earth surface features, different concrete and other features, they radiate it, they emit it in the night time. Okay, so the different thermal properties of different materials may lead to the heat capacity, thermal conductivity. Surface radiative property means albedo is the ratio of the incoming radiation and the outgoing radiation, how much radiation is coming to the earth surface and how much radiation is going back in the space. So that ratio is known as albedo. If albedo is high, it means most of the temperature, most of the energy which is coming from the sun is absorbed by that surface. So that will lead to the high rise in the temperature in the night time. Albedo and emissivity, these are the two important characteristics of any material that needs to be studied before going to analyze the urban heat island effect. Then waste heat is there, color of the material, what kind of color is there, what kind of material you are using, what is the color of the material, whatever you have used in your in the construction of building and other features, which is also responsible for the effect of UHI. So material means whatever the you can say the type of different cement, bricks, or any kind of asphalt, any feature, whatever you use, it will be responsible for the effect of urban heat island effect. And the different materials will have different properties, they have different absorbing properties. So depending on the amount of radiation absorbed by that material, they release it in the night time. That can increase the temperature in the night time, and eventually it is known as urban heat island effect. It's not like that ki urban heat island effect only appears in the night time, appears in the daytime. Sometimes it appears in the night time also. UHI appears in the night time also in some cases, if the amount of the solar radiation is highly absorbed by the materials of that urban area. Okay, now this is the figure. This figure is showing the entire process of urban heat island. You can see the rural area, the urban area, and the different kinds of earth surface features. So how the temperature is increased in that area means the characteristics of the property of that material that absorb the solar radiation that is coming from the sun. So in this figure, you can see the changes in the variation in the temperature. If there is a rural area, they are having low amount of solar radiation absorbed by the earth surface features. When we are going to the highly urbanized or highly industrialized area, then there is a highly possibility of the absorption of the solar radiation coming from the sun. And also the wind speed is an important factor for urban heat island effect. Okay, because of the wind speed, this temperature can move from one place to one place, so this can lead to the heat stroke. Okay, if there is a urban heat island effect and there is a wind speed, so all this can lead to the heat stroke and heat wave. Okay, so meso scale and micro scale, at two different levels we can analyze, we can study the process of urban heat island effect. Mesoscale includes the entire rural, urban, and rural urban area surface. Okay, and the micro scale includes the structure of the building, the size of the building, or you can say the materials which is used in the construction of the building, and how much urban green space is there. So we can analyze the entire process at two different levels, mesoscale and microscale. Mesoscale, in mesoscale, we just consider the entire landscape as a rural or urban. But when we are going to study UHI at microscale, so we need to know what is the size of that building, what is the shape of that building, and you can say what kind of materials are being used for the construction of that building. So that two kinds of labels which is used to study the process of urban heat island effect. So depending on our requirement, depending on our objective, we can go for any of the urban heat island effect process analysis at mesoscale and microscale. Okay. Now moving to the next slide. Yeah, this is the figure showing the variation in the temperature for different roof surface. Okay, the roof surface means the upper part of your house. Whatever the building is there, the upper surface of the building is roof surface temperature that may have different for different materials. So here you can see the temperature variation for different materials which is used for the construction of rooftop. Okay. Okay, so the color figure, the color material, the materials having some color, they absorb the higher amount of solar radiation. So that they finally increase the roof surface temperature. Okay, so in most of the cases, we should avoid using any colored material for the construction of roof surface. Okay, here if we are using the black surface, if we are using any material, black color material for the construction of roof surface, so we know that the black body radiation is there. Because of the black body radiation, this kind of material can absorb the entire solar radiation at different wavelengths, and that can increase the surface temperature of that rooftop. Okay, so we should avoid to use the colored material for the construction of the roof surface of your buildings or house. Okay, so you can see the variation for black surface, for any material having black color, it is having higher surface temperature, whereas if we are using light color or white color surface materials, then it will have less temperature of that material. So this is the variation of different materials having different colors. So we should avoid very colorful, very colored materials for the construction of rooftop and our houses or buildings. Okay. The pavement reflection is also there. Pavement is the, you can say these are the footpaths along the roads. Okay, the footpaths along the road having important role in the urban heat island effect. Okay, most of the reflection, the solar radiation coming from the sun is reflected by the pavements, reflected by the footpaths. But if we are using the material, they have the absorbing properties, so they can absorb the solar radiation and there is a less reflection. Okay, so here you can see the uh, reflection percentage, reflects 10% or reflects 40%. Okay, here you see the pavements. If we are having the dark pavement or cool pavement, okay, so if we are having the dark pavement, then there is a reflection of around 10%. If we are using the cool pavement, they are having the reflection around 40%. So we should avoid using the cool pavement. They are having the less reflectance. Because of the reflectance, we may have different temperature variation. If a material which is used in the construction of the footpath and pavement, they absorb all these solar radiation, so definitely they will release some amount of energy in the night time, so that will lead to the urban heat island effect. So we should use such kind of materials in the construction of the pavement, in the construction of the footpaths. They they don't absorb the much amount of energy coming from the sun, although they should reflect the higher amount of the solar solar radiation, so that if they reflect mostly, then there is no possibility of the absorption, and they will not lead to the emission of the energy, emission of the temperature in the night time. Okay, so we should use the such kind of materials that are having the reflectance properties higher, so that they can reflect the entire energy in the space after the interaction with that material. They don't absorb, if they don't absorb much amount of energy, they don't emit that amount of energy in the night time, so that will reduce the urban heat island effect. Okay, so this is the pavement reflection. Pavement reflection is very important. Pavement means the footpaths along the roads. So we should use such kind of materials along the roads for the construction of footpaths. They are having the high reflectance properties, so that they are not able to uh, absorb the radiation, and they will reduce the urban heat island effect. Here you see different kinds of pavement: permeable pavement, impermeable pavements. We should also use permeable pavements. If there is a permeable pavements, so they can uh, allow water to go inside. So they will be also used to groundwater recharge. Okay, so permeable pavement is very important also for the groundwater recharging. Okay, so the surface, or you can say the construction of the roads, construction of the pavements, construction of the footpaths, they should use such kind of material. They are having high permeability. Because of this high permeability, they allow water to go inside in the ground, and that will also lead to the increase in the groundwater recharging capacities. So here, right now, such kind of pavements are being used for different construction activities. They allow water to go inside. Okay, so this will also helpful for the groundwater recharging, as well as they are also having important role in the reduction of the urban heat island effect. Here, high albedo pavement and conventional pavement. So you can also see here the difference between the high albedo pavement and conventional pavement. High albedo pavement means they they are having high albedo, and if there is, yeah, the pavements having some conventional structures, conventional properties, they are having low albedo. So depending on the type of the materials what is used in the pavement construction is important in the reduction of the urban heat island effect. Wind movement is also important for this UHI effect. Okay, so the stronger winds enhances the heat release and the evaporation, and that the heat, or the you can say the temperature, move from the rural area to urban area. Because of the highly constructed building in the urban area, the heat waves will be trapped in between the tall buildings, so that will lead to the increase in the urban heat island effect. Okay, so the heat waves coming from the rural area will be trapped in the highly constructed buildings, in the tall buildings, and they will be uh, responsible for the increase in the urban heat island effect. Okay, so in this figure you can see the heat is coming from the rural area. It is entered into the urban area, and it is trapped in between the tall buildings. So near ground, wind speed reduced, visibility reduced, and evapotranspiration increased. So if it is a small building, if there is a small buildings, then it will not trapped in that. But if the tall buildings are there, if most of the buildings are having height, and they are having tall structure, so entire the heat wave coming from the rural area will be trapped in that area, and that will release the temperature, and that will increase the effect of UHI. So wind speed is also having important role in UHI effect. Okay, second reason behind UHI is lack of vegetation. As we know that urbanization is there, most of the cities are facing rapid urbanization. So because of the rapid urbanization, the urban green spaces are reducing day by day. Because of this reduction, the urban heat island effect is increasing. Okay, if we are having all the surface covered with urban area, so definitely they will absorb the solar radiation coming from the sun, and eventually they will lead to the effect of UHI. So we should work on the increase of urban green spaces. So here you see how the urbanization is there in 1973, 1992, 2000, 2006, 2009. The built up area is increasing at a fast rate, whereas the vegetation is decreasing day by day. Because of this reduction in the vegetation, because of this reduction in the urban green spaces, in this area will have more possibility that the energy, the solar radiation coming from the sun is absorbed by the surface, absorbed by the impervious surface of that urban area, that will be released, that will be emitted in the night time, that will comes to the formation of UHI or urban heat island. So it is very important. The lack of vegetation, this reduction in the vegetation surface, this reduction in the naturally covered surface in an urban area is having important role in the increased effect of urban heat island. Okay, so here you can see the lack of because of the lack of vegetation, there is also lack of evapotranspiration. Because of the lack of evapotranspiration, there is a loss of uh, urban there is an increase in the urban green spaces. Okay, and the loss of the shaded cooling effect is also there. If there is a lack of evapotranspiration, the carbon dioxide, the concentration of carbon dioxide will be increased in that area. Because of this, there may be the high level of the pollution in that area, and the retaining of the pollutants change the radiative process of the atmosphere. So the vegetation is also important for the reduction of the pollution level in that area. It is not only is responsible for the reduction in the urban heat island, but it is also important in the reduction of the pollution level in that area. Okay, so the lack of vegetation also affects the microclimate of that area in different ways, in terms of lack of evapotranspiration, the loss of shaded cooling effect. Okay, the increase in the concentration of carbon dioxide and other poisonous carbon monoxide gases, high level of the pollution level, high level of the pollution concentration, and retaining of the pollutants. If there is a high level of pollutants, if there is high concentration of the pollutants, so they can change the radiative property of the atmosphere in that area. Okay, so these all are because of the lack of you can say the urban green spaces or vegetation in that area. This is the way, this is the Grand Canyon. Okay, in the same way, there is a the effect which is known as urban canyon effect. Urban canyon effect is very much similar to the natural canyon. This is the natural canyon. This is the valley surrounded by the mountains. This kind of structure is known as canyon. This is natural canyon. In the same way, there is a term which is known as urban canyon effect, which is very much similar to the natural canyon. Okay, the streets cutting through the dense blocks of the structures. So these are the tall buildings, and in between the tall buildings, the roads which is constructed in between the tall buildings, they are also increasing the effect of urban heat island. Okay, because of the tall building, the heat will be trapped in that area, and because of that, the temperature will rise. And if temperature will rise in that area, they will be responsible. They will increase the urban heat island effect. They will increase the phenomena of urban heat island effect in that area. So this is the way in which you can see the highly constructed or the tall buildings also having important role in the you can say the in the production of, or in the phenomena of urban heat island effect. Okay, okay, the you can see here in the figure, this road is in between the tall buildings. So if the heat will be trapped in this area, so it will not be released from this area, it will be trapped here, and because of this, the temperature of that area will increase. And if the temperature will increase, it will certainly affect the surface temperature, and it will come to the formation of urban heat island or urban heat island effect, the phenomena of urban heat island. Okay, so for that, we should avoid such kind of construction of tall buildings in urban area. But in most of the urban cities around the world, you can see the height of the buildings. So this is the also an important factor. This is also having important role in the construction of, in the formation of UHI effect. So this kind of effect, because of the tall building, is known as urban canyon effect. Okay. Multiple reflection. Multiple reflection means the solar radiation coming from the sun interacts with different buildings in that area. Okay, so that also having the important role in the increase of the temperature of that area. The energy which is coming from the sun interacts with the surface, then again it interacts with the first building, then again it interacts with the second building. Because of this, there is a multiple reflection, and because of this multiple reflection, heat cannot be released from that area. Heat will be trapped in that area. Okay, so the here you can see the red arrows are showing the heat released by the buildings and pavements at right, but constantly being reflected and thus trapped in the city. Okay, it is trapped in the city because of the multiple reflections from different buildings. The red arrow is showing the direction of the you can say the heat that is released from some building. But again, if it is released from a building, then again it will be it will be interacted with next building to that, and it will be trapped in that area. So because of this multiple reflection, heat cannot be released from that area, and it will be trapped in that area. Okay, so because of this, temperature of that area will increase, and this area, this phenomena is known as urban heat island, or the process will lead to the formation of UHI or urban heat island. So what are the impacts of this you can say that trapped energy in the urban area? That increase the peak energy demanded, the air conditioning cost, air pollution and greenhouse gas emission, water quality and air quality, heat related illness and mortality will be increased. Because of this rapid urbanization, because of the formation of urban heat island effect, there are having different impacts on the local climate as well as the health condition of the persons living in that area. They will face heat related illness. They will have the mortality rate because of the heat wave and heat stroke. Okay, and air conditioning cost will be increased. If there is a high temperature in the summer, then most of the people will bring air condition. So this can also release some greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. They will increase the greenhouse effect also. Okay, so with the increasing use of AC, the use of AC is increasing day by day because of the high rise in the temperature in the summer season. AC also AC also releases some kind of greenhouse gases. So these greenhouse gases may also be responsible for the formation of urban heat island effect, because this greenhouse gas, the emitted greenhouse gas from the ACs will increase the temperature of that area. If the temperature will be increased, so definitely there will be the phenomena of urban heat island in that area. So these are some impacts of the increased, you can say, the temperature of that area. Okay, now heat related illness may be there. UHI can increase the duration of heat waves. Okay, because of the heat wave, there may be the some health related issues: heat stroke, heat exhaustion, heat cramps, depression, dementia, Parkinson's diseases. Mortality rate will be increased in that area. So heat UHI is not only affecting the local climate, but it is also affecting the health of the person. It is also having negative impacts on the human health. It can lead to the heat stroke, it can lead to the heat exhaustion, it can lead to the heat cramps, depression, dementia, and Parkinson's diseases can also be caused can also be there because of the increased UHI, increased effect of UHI, urban heat island effect. The mortality rate will increase because of this health related illness or health related issues in that area. So what is the mitigation strategies? What should be the you can say the mitigation planning and strategies in that area to reduce the effect of UHI? Okay, so first is that reflective surfaces. We should use the reflective surfaces. Our surfaces should not absorb the radiation. We should use the surfaces, we should use the materials for the construction of the buildings, for the construction of the roads and other urban features. They can reflect most of the energy coming from the solar radiation. If the surface will reflect mostly in the environment, if the surface doesn't absorb the solar radiation, so that will reduce the effect of UHI, that will reduce the phenomena of UHI. So we should increase the use of reflective surfaces. We should use the materials, they are having the properties to reflect the solar radiation coming from the sun. Light colored concrete and green concrete, we should use the light colored materials and concrete for the construction of building, or we can use the green concrete. Okay, we should plant more trees in the urban area, that will also increase the urban green spaces. That is also known as urban reforestation. If we are having the more number of trees in that area, that will reduce the effect of this urban heat island. Okay, so there is a you can say there is a need of the increase in the urban green spaces. Green building promotion, we should focus on the construction of green building, and government should have some policies, government should implement some policies, government should start some initiatives in terms of policies and measures and strategies. So these are some mitigation strategies, these are some measures, these are some precautions that can be implemented to reduce the effect of urban heat island. Okay, now, yeah, so you can see here white roof or color cool roofs. So we should avoid using the colored rooftop for the construction of the building. So here you see the buildings are covered with the white color. The buildings are covered with the white color. Most of the buildings are having white color. Here you can see the rooftop of that building is being colored by the white color. Okay, so this kind of light color or white color uh, can easily reflect the solar radiation into the space again. Okay, if it doesn't receive, if it doesn't absorb any kind of solar radiation, so definitely there will be the reduction in the phenomena of UHI. Okay, because the colored surface absorbs more radiation in comparison to the white colored surface. So this is a way in which, and this is a very easiest way. Whenever whenever you are going to construct your building, whenever you are going to construct your rooftop, always try to have the white color surface so that they can easily reflect most of the solar radiation coming from the sun. So because of this, there will be the less possibility of the formation of UHI. Okay, green roofs, we can also use green roofs. We can plant some small trees, we can plant some grasses over the rooftop of our building, so that can also reduce the effect of UHI. If we are having the green surface over the rooftop our building, so they cannot absorb the solar radiation, and in that case it will also reduce the effect of or the formation of UHI. Okay, so green roof can be used to reduce the formation of UHI, because this kind of surfaces will not absorb the solar radiation, and most of the solar radiation will be reflected back. Okay, now light colored concrete or green concrete can be used. Okay, if we use concrete for the construction of roads, construction of the buildings, or the construction of the rooftop or footpaths, anything, whatever the construction is there, we should use light colored or green concrete for the construction of roads and other or surface features or urban features. Okay, so you have seen this kind of light colored surface in the cities right now. Right now, most of the cities, you can see right now most of the cities are don't having the black colored road. Initially, the charcoal was used for the construction of the roads, but right now this light colored concretes are being used for the formation for the construction of the roads. Or in most of the cities they are using green concrete for the construction of different urban features, so they can reduce the effect of UHI, urban heat island. Okay, so this is the way in which we can promote the urban reforestation. Urban reforestation means the plantation of more number of trees, more number of greeneries, more number of grasses and other things, other in the urban area. So urban reforestation is very important to reduce the effect of UHI in an area. Because of this, we can easily reduce the negative impacts of that UHI on the environment, on the climate, as well as on the human health. Okay. These are some initiatives by the government to promote the construction of green building. Okay, green building means the building should be constructed with such kind of materials. They are having less absorptive properties. They are having high reflective properties, and the buildings will not absorb the solar radiation. So such kind of buildings are known as green buildings, who can reflect most of the solar radiation and doesn't absorb the solar radiation. So that will reduce the effect of UHI. So these are some government initiatives to promote the construction of green buildings in urban areas. Okay, so we should also focus, we should also try to incorporate, or we should also focus on the construction of green buildings whenever we are going to construct some houses, some buildings in our society, in our area, so that we can easily reduce the effect of UHI. Okay, this is the government initiative. Government should also have different policies, some measures, some strategies to reduce the effect of urban urban heat island. Okay, so there is a program of the government that is known as Heat Island Reduction Program. The Heat Island Reduction Program was initiated by government to reduce the effect of UHI in the urban areas. It includes the policies, some measures, and the strategies. So in this way, we can see that urban heat island effect, the formation of UHI is mostly because of the anthropogenic activities. We have not focused on the plantation of more trees. We are started using different kind of materials. They are having most absorbing power, most absorbing capacities, absorption potential. So they are increasing the effect of UHI, urban heat island. So we should first avoid using the materials who are having more absorption capacities. Okay, we should focus on the plantation of more trees. We should focus on the, you can say, the construction of the buildings with the green concrete or light color concrete, so that they cannot trap the energy. And we should also focus on the construction of green buildings and the surface which is having high reflective properties, so that they can reflect most of the energies in the space again, so that can reduce the urban heat island effect. Okay, so urban heat island effect is an important topic when we are talking about urban sprawl or urban growth modeling or mapping. So urban growth and urban sprawl are having important role in the formation of UHI. Most of the UHI formation of the UHI or urban heat island effects are because of the rapid urbanization, rapid population growth, or rapid urban growth. So if we can reduce, if we are having some policies, we are having some planning to reduce the rapid urbanization or rapid urban growth, so definitely it will reduce the effect of UHI in that area. So in this way, we can have different ways to reduce the UHI depending on our, you can say, the policies, depending on our initiatives. We can have different type of government initiatives also to reduce the effect of UHI effect. Okay, so whenever someone try to study the UHI, when you are going to study UHI, first you should study the landscape features of that area, because the properties of the landscape features are having important role in the formation of UHI. What kind of materials are being used there, what kind of surface is there, they are totally responsible for the formation of UHI. So we should always focus on the formation of or the construction of the buildings, construction of the urban area, so that we can have the less, uh, you can say, we can have the less effect of UHI in that area. Remote sensing can be very much useful for such kind of studies. Right now, the most of the sensors are having thermal thermal spectral information. Right, Landsat images having two thermal bands. So because of that, it is very much possible. It is very easy to calculate the land surface temperature, and because of the calculation of the land surface temperature, we can easily analyze the effect of UHI. Okay, most of the sensors, like Indian remote sensing sensors, they are also having some kind of infrared sensor, infrared bands, but mostly Landsat images are having two bands. Landsat 8 having two thermal band 11, band 10 and band 11. These two bands can be very much useful for studying the effect of UHI. First, you can use that bands for the calculation for the retrieval of the land surface temperature. You can use different indices, and you can correlate the change in the different indices with the land surface temperature, and on that basis you can study the effect of UHI, or you can study the uh, processes behind the formation of UHI in that area. Okay, so remote sensing is very much useful for such kind of studies. If anyone wants to study urban heat island, if anyone wants to study the urban growth modeling, if anyone wants to study the causes and consequences of urban heat island, so we can go for the multi-temporal remote sensing data sets available from Landsat satellite, and using the uh, land surface temperature measurement using different indices, vegetation indices, built up indices, water indices, or any other indices can be used to study the correlation between different land use land cover classes with the change in the temperature of that area. That will also having important role, that will also help you to study the formation, causes and consequences of the urban heat island effect. Okay, now moving to next slide, there are some MCQs. These are some MCQs related to today's lecture. Okay, you all should attempt these MCQs after the lecture. Thank you very much for today's lecture. Thanks a lot.